From the Religious Coalition for Cable Television Use headquarters in Sacramento, this is Vision for a Better World, an interfaith perspective. Vision for a Better World is produced by the Religious Coalition for Cable Television and the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento. Let's join our host, Michael Moran.
Welcome to our second episode of Vision for a Better World. My name is Michael Moran. Coming up on Faces of Faith, our guest today is visionary scholar, teacher, and lifelong Theravada Buddhist monk, Bhante Seela, founder of American Buddhist Seminary in Sacramento. Bhante Seela, as he is called, is a highly respected and much-loved senior monk in Sacramento who has shared the wisdom of Buddhist teachings with thousands of people around the world. But first, Easter at a mosque. I was personally involved in this beautiful example of interfaith cooperation. When our church, the Spiritual Life Center, lost its lease 1 week before Easter, we were suddenly scrambling to find a place to hold our largest services of the year. Our friends at the Salam Center answered the call and allowed us to hold our services at the community center next to their mosque. Here's a report from KCRA3 on the event. Take a look.
Easter at a mosque. Christians are beginning to arrive for service. KCRA3's Leticia Ordaz joins us live from Salam Islamic Center with why they're at a mosque instead of a church. Good morning, Leticia.
Well, good morning, Brian. There's a huge crowd already this morning for the 8:30 service. It turns out the Christian Center lost their lease 1 week before Easter, so the Muslim community was kind enough to rent out this mosque, so to speak, and the space. And people are so excited about two religions coming together now, and I'm here now with a reverend to tell me a little bit more about this day in history.
Well, this is literally a dream come true for me, because when I was struggling about where we were going to be for the biggest day of the year on the Christian calendar, we had no place to go. And at night when I would toss and turn, I had a dream where I saw a newspaper headline that said Easter at the mosque. And I thought to myself, well, that probably won't happen. But the next morning, I called my friend, Dr. Metwali Amr, who's the founder of the Sacramento Area League of Associated Muslims, and I told him of the dream, and he made it come true for us today. So we are celebrating Easter at the mosque, just like the headline said.
Wow. And Dr. Amr, is this unheard of?
Yes, and we are really excited to make our mosque available for the Spiritual Life Center, a Christian congregation, to pray at our mosque today, especially the Easter service.
And how did the Muslim community react when you told them that this was going to be happening here?
Well, definitely we are part of the community, part of the American dream, and we are really excited. And they are excited also to make the facilities available in case of need, in time of need.
And showing two religions coming together as one.
Exactly. It's really a milestone in interfaith cooperation.
It's nice to see a lot of people with happy faces pouring in. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
There is a service at 8:30 this morning as well as 11, and it's open to everyone who wants to come. You can see the services are about to get started here in just a little bit. And there's also going to be an Easter egg hunt after all of the services. Reporting live here in Sacramento, I'm Leticia Ordaz, KCRA3 reports.
I'm deeply moved by how gracious the Muslim community was in allowing us to celebrate Easter at their center. I see this as a great step towards further cooperation between faiths in the future. Now, while we were celebrating Easter at the mosque, Safe Haven Ministries partnered with the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento and Loaves and Fishes to offer Easter services for the homeless.
Happy Easter! Good morning from the village on North C Street, and happy Easter morning to everyone. We're here today at the village on North C Street to help with the homeless and to aid and assist Mo Mahana and Don Harris and others who are doing such a good work, Sister Fernandez and Loaves and Fishes. It's a wonderful day.
We are celebrating Resurrection Sunday in the new chapel for the first time.
Lord, I'm amazed by you.
God really recycles garbage, man, or I'd still be in the trash. And it means a lot to me to see these people get the love that they deserve, because I know what it's like to go without it.
God has just been amazing. We've seen homeless people come and share and their stories and sing with us in this worship this morning.
After the services, volunteers distributed sleeping bags and basic necessities to the homeless. An indoor Easter egg hunt was also put on for the children.
I kind of think that little by little this is coming together. We are creating a continuum of care center, not only feeding, loving, caring, sharing, alcohol rehabilitation, women's empowerment, money management, and shelter, but also the Word of God is being taught here. And it's important. That's what Jesus would do. That's what we want to do. So that's what we are coming together to hopefully make this center, this village work and provide unconditional love to our brothers and sisters. And I'm really proud that on Easter Day this is happening, and we are really blessed.
The Newman Catholic community near the Sacramento State University celebrated their Jewish roots by having a Passover Seder meal. The Seder meal involves drinking and eating symbolic foods while retelling the story of the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt.
Blessed are you, O Lord, King of the universe, who created the fruit of the earth. And now we get the parsley and the water.
Bishop Ron Allen has been working hard to bring awareness to the Sacramento community about the negative impact of drugs.
We strongly believe that if you're going to change the face of drug addiction, it must come through drug prevention education, and we're going to make sure of that.
On March 13th, Ron held an event to declare K Street a drug-free zone by handing out Truth About Drugs pamphlets to as many people as possible on K Street.
The reason I'm out here is because I've been a musician for 43 years. I've actually lost musicians from drugs, and I just had to be here. I arranged my schedule so that I could take part in passing out the booklets because it's so important to get this information out to people as well as artists in general who think that drugs make you more creative, and it's just not true.
His organization, the International Faith-Based Coalition, is continuing to plan future events that will educate people on the dangers of drug use.
Our organization is a drug prevention coalition, and we are a non-denominational, bipartisan, non-political organization that cares about the youth, the young adult, and the community, and keeping them safe from drugs and drug addiction.
A press conference held at the Sikh Gurdwara Sahib in West Sacramento that addressed a new act that will unveil legislation to strengthen protections of religious freedoms in the workplace.
Good morning, everybody. This is a great opportunity for all faiths that we are receiving 1964, AB 1964 legislation by legislator Marieko Yamada.
By standing together today and advancing the discussion on AB 1964 and the important protections that we believe it will afford to members of all religious minorities and faiths in our community.
AB 1964 clarifies the Fair Employment and Housing Act to ensure that religion receives equal protection under the law.
We should be treated equal, and all of those things should be unfolding for all of us. Shouldn't be penalized because you've got a beard or you wear something on your head or any of those kinds of things.
Yet we see again and again court challenges faced by many members of the Sikh and Muslim communities in particular, and other communities in general, having to defend their religious practices in the workplace.
Sikhs remain vulnerable to discrimination in the private sector on account of their appearance, due to restrictive corporate image policies that are based on stereotypes about what American workers should look like. And as the Assemblywoman pointed out, there are loopholes in federal law that actually permit employers to segregate visibly religious employees from customers and the general public in the name of corporate image.
The bill would also specify that religious clothing and hairstyles qualify as a religious belief or observance, and that segregating an employee from customers or the public is not a reasonable accommodation of an employee's religious beliefs. This act is especially important to the Sikhs because of their religious practices of wearing turbans and beards. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Vision for a Better World.
Faces of Faith.
This week on Faces of Faith, I had the privilege to sit with Bhante Seela and have a conversation about his life as a monk, his work in the global community, and his commitment with the upcoming Vesak celebration on June 9th. Bhante was ordained as a monk at age 10. After arriving in the U.S. from Sri Lanka in 1974, he began teaching at the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley, then at the Graduate Theological Union. He's also taught at Cal State Chico and the Huafan University in Taiwan. He became abbot of his master's monastery in Sri Lanka after his master passed away. Bhante moved to Sacramento in 1996. In addition to his work in sharing Buddhist Dharma, Bhante initiated the first inter-Buddhist Vesak program in the California Bay Area in 1977, as well as assisted in starting inter-Buddhist Vesak celebrations in Stanford, Berkeley, and Davis. Last year, he started the first Vesak Buddha Day program of inter-Buddhist communities in Sacramento upon the 2600th anniversary of the birth, enlightenment, and death of Buddha. Take a look. Welcome, Bhante Seela, to Vision for a Better World.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
You're a Buddhist monk in the Theravada Buddhist tradition. What is the difference between the different traditions?
The major Buddhist traditions are Theravada and Mahayana. Theravada Buddhism is the traditional Buddhism that was the earliest form of Buddhism. And then the monks who wanted to adapt to different situations, they develop different aspects of Mahayana Buddhism, then they call them Mahayana. Theravada Buddhism is mainly practiced in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, Cambodia, and Laos.
What is the primary practice in Theravada Buddhism?
The main practice of Buddhism is refining the mind. So each different cultures use different techniques to get to that goal.
Bhante, you were the only monk ever to go into secular education, graduating with honors in Buddhist studies from the University of Sri Lanka, while still continuing the strict regimen as a Buddhist monk. What difference do you think that made in your ministry, in your work?
A monk has two teachers. One of my teachers was one of the best Dharma teachers in Sri Lanka. When he met Westerners at the time, he would not be able to communicate Dharma teachings with them because he didn't know English. Maybe for that reason, when I was 10 years old, my teacher thought that I must be studying English in the future together with the Dharma. And for that reason, he wanted to send me to a regular school where English is commonly spoken and taught. So that is the reason that why my teacher sent me to a secular school. And I grew up with 3,000 young kids starting from age 10 and then all the way to the university. And that was unheard of in Sri Lanka because once a monk is ordained, they are sent to monk schools, those ecclesiastical centers. So I was unique in that sense because I used to grow up with the kids and young people and lay people. So maybe I got used to the thinking of those young generation, and then that made me easier to communicate Dharma when I grew up later, I think.
Bhante Seela, there are many, many people around the world today that are practicing Buddhism. Who are these new people that are being drawn to it?
Actually, Buddhism is originally, to me, was one of the earliest psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. There are four parts of the teaching we call Four Noble Truths. First and the second noble truth is the psychoanalysis part. Third and the fourth noble truth is the psychotherapy part. So I think anywhere, anytime in the world, people want the sanity. And so the Buddhism is only emphasizing that part and how to take care of your mind and how to make yourself a happier person. And that is the idea. And I think everybody in the West or East or whatever the country is, they like to see these techniques that are used 2,000 years ago and all these thousands of years and use it. And that is practical then and practical now.
If Buddha were alive today, what do you think he'd be teaching us?
I think his teaching would not be different whatsoever. Even after 2,600 years later, what he would be talking basically about the same things. How the mind works and what are the problems of the mind and how do we fix it and what are the things that we need to do to fix it. So actually what we should be doing in day-to-day basis to make our minds a little bit more efficient. So he would be teaching the same things.
You started the Bodhi Tree Project at the American Buddhist Seminary, your temple here in Sacramento. What is the Bodhi Tree program?
Bodhi Tree is the place where our Shakyamuni Buddha sat down under when he became enlightened 2,600 years ago. And luckily I was able to spend 3 months at the place, exact place where Buddha became enlightened last year from last part of the year. And so the Bodhi tree is a tree that symbolizes the enlightenment of the Buddha. Enlightenment means the healthiest possible mind of a human being. So that is what enlightenment means. So the Bodhi tree represent the enlightenment, mean healthiest mind. So that is the symbol in Buddhism that we use. We call Bodhi means enlightenment, healthy mind. So we promote the symbol of Bodhi tree and to remind you that we all should strive for the healthier mind. So in our temples, if you go to Sri Lanka, every temple has a Bodhi tree as part of the object of respect.
Bhante Seela, you've given a great deal of your time and energy and commitment to Vesak. What is Vesak and why is it so important to Buddhists around the world?
Vesak literally means month of May. So according to our historical records, Buddha was born in full moon of May. He became enlightened on full moon of May, and he passed away on full moon of May. So the full moon of May is one of the biggest day for Buddhists who celebrate the life of the Buddha. The life of the Buddha is actually when we celebrate, we are teaching we are celebrating the teachings of the Buddha. So when we celebrate the teachings of the Buddha, we celebrate 2 parts of the teachings of the Buddha. One part is the theory, one part of the practice. Theory is why do we do what we do. The practice is these are the things that we should do to get this effect, certain effect. So the theory and practice are the 2 sides of the teachings of the Buddha. The celebration of the life of the Buddha means celebration of these 2 aspects of the teachings of the Buddha.
Bhante, what is your long-term vision for Sacramento's Vesak Buddha Day celebrations?
Several years ago, I came to Sacramento to start a temple here, and then I found out the same situation. Most Buddhist leaders don't know each other too much, and they are not too close with each other. And then I thought what we did in Bay Area is wonderful to do it here if I do it. So I started Vesak celebration in Sacramento, and I had it in several places. And this year we are going to have it in Kim Kwan Temple, which is a Vietnamese temple. So we invite all the different ethnic groups, different ethnic Buddhist and Buddhist teachers, and have a ecclesiastical kind of, what would you call it, ecumenical service. It's not only one style of service, bring everything together and have it, and give the opportunity to basically Westerners to experience, and also eat some Asian food and taste Asian culture a little bit. So it was very successful last year, and I think this year is going to be very successful also.
Bhante, thank you for being our special guest on Vision for a Better World.
Thank you very much.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're back. I'm Michael Moran, your host of Vision for a Better World, and here's what I think. Sacramento is noted for its cultural, racial, and spiritual diversity. As a matter of fact, Time magazine identified Sacramento as the most diverse and integrated city in America. I love that. People of every race, color, creed, living together, not isolated into separate neighborhoods or quarters. But even with our notable integration, we still have divides that keep us separate and sometimes suspicious of one another's beliefs and customs. Suspicious people become fearful people who often project their worst fears onto whole groups. Suspicious, fearful people can become dangerous people. One of the goals of this program, Vision for a Better World, is to bridge those gaps that separate us, to minimize fear by bringing people of diverse faith traditions and cultures together in respectful dialogue, cooperative, worthwhile projects, and fun, informative social events. Last month here in Sacramento, we witnessed a historical event take place that was picked up by the international news media thanks to social media technology. Spiritual Life Center, a unity ministry with an interfaith mission, had lost its lease at a Midtown church it had shared for 12 years. Spiritual Life Center had no place to go to hold its Easter service, which is the most meaningful and well-attended service of the year. In an unprecedented show of generosity and hospitality and a willingness to bridge religious and cultural boundaries, the Sacramento League of Associated Muslims opened the doors of their mosque complex and invited Spiritual Life Center to use their mosque community center. It was beautiful to see Muslims, Christians, and other people of faith working joyfully side by side to help create a meaningful spiritual experience for each other. For me, it was a dream come true. People of diverse faith traditions working together in the spirit of hospitality, which is a universal spiritual principle shared by all of our great religious traditions. It was family helping out family. We may have different religions, different languages, different customs, different colored skins, but we are all one human family. It was a small but significant step toward creating a world of peaceful coexistence and mutual respect. Christians left the Easter at the mosque event better Christians, and Muslims left better Muslims, and everyone else left feeling good, hopeful, and joy-filled about a new possibility of interfaith harmony. There is no downside to kindness, hospitality, and mutual respect. I want to thank the Sacramento League of Associated Muslims for their courage, leadership, kindness, and generous hospitality. It just goes to prove that when we choose being kind over being rigid and right, we'll be right every time. At least, that's what I think. Now, that's about it for our show, but we'd like to leave you with a question. Do you think it's possible for the many different world faiths to work together for the common good of all humankind? Take a look.
Sure.
Can you expand on that?
Well, I think the bottom line is like a lot of the values are similar, so they'll organize around that.
I don't think including all faith, no. Some faiths don't believe in working with other faiths.
Okay.
Some faiths believe they're it, man, and everyone else is out.
It's always a hope that that can happen. I've seen it happen in smaller groups, but probably not.
I would hope so. Hope so. I'd like to believe that.
Yes, I do. If people would just treat people how they want to be treated, I think we'd all get along much better.
History hasn't shown that to be the case. There's been an untold amount of war and human misery, a lot of it having to do with religion, it seems to me. So if you look at 5,000 or 10,000 years of history, it doesn't look like it.
You know what? I'd like to think it's possible, but I don't think it's possible. Can you expand on that? Why you don't think it's possible? I just think there's too much division. No? Why?
Because they're always like they all want everyone else to believe their religion, not they don't want to just open up and listen to the other religions.
Of course. Well, I mean, I think it's more important that people work together for the common good of people. And I think it's obvious that most religions have the highest goals in mind. The problem is what people do with it.
Probably not. I mean, that's not why they were brought into existence, really. They exist for serving their particular niche purposes, and it's not really necessary for them to get along. But maybe one day there won't be any religions. I don't know.
I think it should be possible, but I don't think it is. I think everybody has too much of an opinion to actually share or have any sort of give in their beliefs to believe in others' religion or opinion, and everyone's too against each other about their own beliefs. So
I think that everybody has their own opinion on things and are set in their ways, and it's just, I mean, I'd like to see it, but it's not ever going to happen. So, yeah.
Well, I think there are many gates to heaven. I think that once they realize there are many gates to heaven, there's going to be a lot of harmony.
I'm Michael Moran. Thanks for watching Vision for a Better World. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Vision for a Better World, an interfaith perspective. Vision for a Better World is produced by the Religious Coalition for Cable Television and the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento. If you would like to learn more about us, go to rcctv.org or sacramentointerfaith.org. If you have a story or event that you would like highlighted on our show, give us a call at 916-448-7501. 916-448-7501.